What's up, y'all? It's Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Thank you for joining me today. Greatly appreciated. As always, if you could, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you stay up to date with all of my future Teachable Tuesdays content. We're on episode 52 of the Long Car Ride Chronicles. My apologies for missing a couple of weeks. I actually had some episodes recorded, and you know how it goes. Sometimes you record stuff and things just don't line up the way you would like it to line up. So nonetheless, making sure this definitely gets out. And today is a very a tough day. I'm not gonna lie. By the time you get this recording, it will be the funeral of my Uncle Edwin. May he rest in peace. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I have not been completely knowing how to process death. And the reason for it, if I'm being completely transparent, is it's for a number of reasons. And I'm going to start off with this before I just talk about Uncle Edwin and his life and, you know, what he means to me. And, you know, how this is kind of a big deal for me because this is the first uncle that I've lost. You know what I'm saying? I've lost great uncles. I've lost great aunts. Have yet to lose any aunts or uncles. And this hits a little close to home because, you know, when you lose your uncle, here's the truth. That is the closest thing to your parents. Mind you, this was not my biological uncle. This is my uncle by my, you know, husband of my biological Aunt Tanya. Shout out to her. Shout out to EJ as well, my cousin. But biological or not, it still hits a little close to home. You know what I'm saying? But before I get into that, I think for me, it's the fact that, you know, they say death comes in threes. And I've talked about it on this channel before. And I lost two of my former students. One was one of my former students from a while back that graduated 2 years ago from high school. And then I lost one of my current students. And it was literally back to back. One happened in September, the other one happened in October. And oh my goodness, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. So when my little brother calls me and I hear that he passed away, you know, this was at the end of January when it happened. He passed away because of a seizure. It just had me stuck. And one of the reasons why it had me stuck was because I just didn't know how to process it, y'all. This is the first time in my life that death has happened, and I just didn't know how to comprehend because it had been so much back to back to back. And I remember praying to God, like, in November, and you might think this is kind of a futile prayer because if there's one thing in life that we can expect, it's death. Death is going to come for us all one day, right? It's, you know, in the words of Goku from Team 4-Star, Dragon Ball Z Abridged, you know, it's going to stick. It's going to stick. I know Goku was portrayed as a goofy character in Team 4-Star, Dragon Ball Z Abridged, but if there's one knowledgeable thing that he said, you know, death one day is going to stick. And he's absolutely right. No matter how many times you escape death, you know, because some people, they've gotten extremely lucky. Or should I say blessed? We ain't going to say lucky, we're going to say blessed. Eventually it comes for us all. We don't know the time. We don't know. We don't know the time that God's going to call us home. And, yeah, it just happened so suddenly. You know, none of us were expecting it. He was in the hospital, but he was getting better. So we were thinking positive, but, you know, life has its own way of saying, hey, this is what it is. This is what it's going to be. And, yeah, I've cried. I definitely cried. I went to therapy about 2 weeks ago, last week, actually. And I cried. That was the first time I cried about my uncle since his passing. And I still feel like I have not fully accepted it. I'm trying to. I'm doing my best. But it's tough, y'all. And then, like I said, going back to what I originally said, so my uncle, I've known my Uncle Edwin since I was 6 years old. Him and my Aunt Tanya got married. I wanna say I was either 6 or 7. No pun intended on the 6-7 thing that's going on right now. Right? Like I was around that age, I believe. And we had gotten really close. You know what I'm saying? It would be a lot of times I would hang out with him one-on-one. Of course, once they were married. You know what I'm saying? And I grew very fond of my uncle because, believe it or not, I don't have any biological... Well, let me rephrase it. I do. Growing up, I didn't have any biological uncles that I was aware of. Right? Because really, on my mom's side, and we'll get into the story another day, but on my mom's... let me start my dad's side. My dad's side, he was the only boy. It was all, all girls. Aunt Barbara, Aunt Yvette, Aunt Nora, Aunt Deneen, and Aunt Tanya. Dad was the second youngest. My Aunt Tanya is the youngest. And then when it comes to my mom's side, at the time being, growing up as a child, the only person I knew was my Aunt Barbara. That was from, Nana. Nana had two girls, my mom and my Aunt Barbara. Come to find out later, I did have uncles, and my uncles came from my grandfather. But again, for the majority of my life, I didn't know I had an uncle on that side. You know what I'm saying? So growing up, my first 18 years, all I knew was I had one not great uncle, standard uncle. And then, of course, Uncle Mark came along as well a couple years later. So I didn't have that many uncles, to say the least. And then Uncle Randy, he came into place too. But Uncle Edwin was the first. So because Uncle Edwin was the first, whenever you have a first of something, it not saying others don't matter. I obviously they do. I love my Uncle Mark. I love my Uncle Randy. Love them all. It just hits different. And mind you, I did have my Uncle Glenn, who was married. Aunt Barbara and Uncle Glenn been married for like eons. Good Lord, they've been married for a long time. Shout out to them. Black marriages do work, y'all. Marriages in general work when you willing to put in the work for it, But the thing about my Uncle Glenn was I wasn't around my Uncle Glenn as often because Uncle Glenn and Aunt Barbara lived in North Carolina. So, bottom line is, Uncle Edwin, I had a chance to get to know him the most early on. Uncle Mark was definitely around. I got to know him too. And then Uncle Randy marches to the beat of his own drum. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. If you wonder why I march to the beat of my own drum, I get inspiration from him. But my Uncle Edwin had a big impression on me. You know what I'm saying? He was a man that was very much adamant about getting things done. Very much had the mindset of, I'm going to make it work no matter what it takes. Very calm. Very rarely saw him get angry. When he got angry, ooh. That's why I always tell people, you got to beware of people that don't get angry that often, because when they do, that means somebody really done pissed you off. And that was if I ever saw my uncle angry, it was like, yeah, somebody really pissed him off, because he didn't really get angry. He got disappointed. Like, even when I did stupid stuff as a kid, he never showed anger towards me. It was just always like, yeah, I'm disappointed in you, Marcus. And it hurt because, my Uncle Edwin was also like another father figure. Keyword another, because, my dad was very active in my life. Shout out to Dad. Also had a stepdad. But, multiple people in your family can play father roles and father figures as well. And, my Uncle Edwin was one of those people growing up that I didn't want to disappoint, because I looked up to him. I saw the type of man he was. I saw the fact that he carried himself with a calm demeanor, never lost frame. And if he did lose frame, it was very rare you could tell. I'm pretty sure my Aunt Tanya could tell, or EJ could tell, because they were the closest to him, via son and wife. But, you know, we didn't see that, you know what I'm saying? He very much stayed true to who he was and was unapologetic about it. Uncle Edwin was very quiet, very much to himself, did not really care for having his business out there, didn't like having a lot of people in his business, period. He was very much on the side of, hey, we gonna get it done and we gonna lock in. And I'm just gonna go about living life. And I really respect that about him. I'll never forget the time, and I've told this story before, maybe once or twice on this channel, but I'll say it again for my new viewers, which, by the way, if you're a new subscriber, thank you, appreciate it. If you're not a new subscriber, what you waiting for? Join the community, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. The goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. We are currently, as of the recording of this video, at 657. So thank you guys for all that you do. Really appreciate it. But I remember I was at my grandmother's funeral. R.I.P Grandma. Grandma had passed away in 2018. It's hard to believe it's been almost 10 years. It's crazy, right? So I was hurt. I was tore up from the floor up, as we say. And I am like, you know, my dad's patting me on my back. I'm thinking he's escorting me out. You know, I'm thinking he's, comforting me because, I was hurt. But I know Dad is the type of person where he has to stand strong. So my dad tells me, you need to stop showing out. Grandma wouldn't approve of this. And I shoved his hand away and I said, you can't tell me how to grieve my grandma. Just because you grieve your way, I gotta grieve my way. And I'm hurt. Now maybe if you want to hold in that hurt and not push it out, that's up to you. But that's not how I roll, and that's not the type of person I am. And mind you, I was very close to my grandparents. All my grandparents. Well, except my grandfather on my mom's side. I've been getting close to Gramps as in recent years, but that's a whole nother story for another day. So I was pissed off. I mean, I went from like really upset to extremely pissed to the point where I couldn't even ride home with my dad that day because I was so pissed off. I'm like, I'm not riding home here because I'm going to say something off the wall that he's not going to like. And, I try to be respectful of my parents, but in that moment, I was going to let my dad have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't too many times in life where I've outright disrespected my parents. That was about to be one of them. Because I was just like, yo, how you going to tell me how to grieve? Right? How you going to tell me? So my uncle came in the hallway, my Uncle Edwin. I never forget, this is one of my most dominant memories of him and I. He said, look, man, you grieve how you want to grieve, okay? You do what you feel as though is necessary. He reminded me, the man that you are is the man that you are. You realize how proud Grandma was of you? Like how much she talked about you, even though she wanted you to come back home. You know what I'm saying? You are your own man. You are living in Florida. You're a teacher. You're making it. You're doing what you got to do to make it through. And even though it's not easy, you're doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't let nobody tell you how to grieve. Don't let nobody tell you how to be the man that you know that you are. And that was the validation that I needed at that moment. And it was at that moment that I realized how much of a goat my uncle was. You know what I'm saying? And this is no knock on parents. Sometimes parents do things that are unacceptable at times. But I feel like when you got an aunt and uncle that comes in, you know what I'm saying, and mitigates that, hey, because sometimes people don't be thinking at the time. I don't think my dad was really thinking at the moment. That doesn't make him any less of a person because of it. But at that moment, it was a wrong thing to say. But my uncle came in and he, through my anger, through my frustration, he worked with me. You know what I'm saying? Me and EJ, my cousin, we were talking on the phone about Uncle Edwin a couple weeks ago because I was checking in with him, making sure he was straight because I know it's hit him hard. I know it's been hitting my aunt hard. They've been trying to manage the best way they can. And, my Uncle Edwin was only 53 years old. he wasn't old. You know what I'm saying? 53 is not old. I know I joked around as a kid and said that was old, but I think the older you get, the more you realize that what you think is old ain't really old. I make AARP jokes about my mom. She wouldn't probably smack the black off me sometimes. But my mom is not old. My mom is only 54. Yeah, I don't have old parents and aunts and uncles. My oldest parent is my dad. My dad just turned 55. I call him old man, but that ain't really that old. Especially in the grand scheme of things, you know. But yeah, my Uncle Edwin was special. He was a special man. He was held in high regard by a lot of people. He was a man of the mindset of just get it done. And I think that's a mindset every man needs to develop, right? Just get it done. No matter how hard things may be, just get it done. No matter how challenging life may be, just get it done. Because when you have that mindset, what it does is it shows that no matter how life hard gets, you can stand and just know, hey, I know this is tough, but I'm here. Let's make it work. You know? So, again, I'm recording this video a couple days before his funeral. But as I reflect on today and the days leading up to that, and even as you guys watch this video, I'm more than likely still reflecting. I think about how much of an amazing man he was. How loving, how caring, how balanced. Because I think sometimes as men, we have a hard time finding balance between emotional stability / intelligence and, you know, frank. Because, you know, as men, we're not going to show our emotions all the time, right? Because we understand that emotions don't always produce results. That's not to say that you can't show your emotions at all. That's not to say that you can't be emotionally aware and emotionally intelligent. Because believe it or not, ladies, there are a lot of men, there are a lot more men that are emotionally intelligent than you think. Just because he doesn't show his emotions doesn't mean he's not emotionally intelligent. In fact, I think that is a way of building emotional intelligence, because it shows when it's the right time to connect your emotions to a situation when it's not. And my uncle, he did a very good job at doing it. Very good job. I think the only regret I have is I wish we would have talked a little bit more in recent years. We did from time to time. We would talk on the phone and whatnot, but I don't think, I think the last time I saw my uncle might have been 2023. No, I lied. 2024. I'm tripping. Even still, that's 2 years, y'all. That's a long time. Because the thing is, I ain't really go home much last year. I went home like twice. And I didn't really see my dad's side much. Which is why my little brother and sister graduate later this year. I'm definitely making it my business to stay up there a bit longer. On my dad's side, particularly, to spend time with him, you know. But yeah, y'all, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie, this is not an easy thing to maneuver through. And again, you know, this is the first uncle I've lost. So once again, it hits a little close to home, because when you start losing your aunts and your uncles, that's the closest thing to your parents. Sir. My bad, y'all. You know, one of my pet peeves as a driver is when you get into a lane, even a slow lane, you just start driving even slower than the speed limit. Random fact about Marcus. The speed limit's 70. Even in the slow lane, you need to be going 70. Come on. No. Anyways, God is still good. God is still good. But yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna ramble on. Just again, R.I.P to Uncle Edwin. I love you, man. It just hurts. It hurts, but you know, I'm looking forward to seeing my family. Some family members I haven't seen in quite some time. I mean, I wish it wasn't under these conditions and circumstances, but such is life, you know. And at the end of the day, I think we all realize that life goes on, no matter how tough things get. And, you know, I'm going to continue to become a better man because I know that's what he would want from me, you know. We're going to wrap up the video here. This is Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. I want to let you guys know that the R.I.P Chronicles will be taking a short, and when I say short, I mean very, very, very short break. Over the next 2 weeks, actually, I lied, 3 weeks. I have 3 projects that I need to come out with that have been, one of them has been super duper long overdue. I mean, long overdue, eviction notice overdue. That's how bad it's been. And the other 2 is just overdue. So one of them, just to give you a heads up real quick, is going to be my Tekken Tag Tournament final bowl. I said final battle. Help the Lord. Final bowling match. We did have the championship round. We do have our champions. But I never did the champions versus the secret boss. So we are going to do that next Saturday. I forgot what the champions are. I can't really think of it right now. That's how, I know it's sad, y'all. I'm sorry. That's how long it's been. But it's going to be them versus Unknown and Tetsujin. So, yeah, I know it's been long overdue. Again, I do apologize. But yeah, we gonna get to it. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be a fun matchup. I'm actually going to be recording that probably when I come back from Baltimore. So by the time you see this video in a couple of days, I would have started recording. And then I have 2 more Cali Slide vlogs I need to put out. Like I said, you know, for those who are new to the channel, I went to a skate event called Cali Slide a couple of months ago, and it was a blast. It was an awesome time. I am so glad that I went. And I still got 2 more vlogs that I need to put together that have been a bit overdue because I was supposed to put them out once a week once I came back from the trip, and it just never happened. So I got to go through my archives, look at the videos, put everything together. So I'm going to start working on that soon as well. So you'll have 2 vlogs. So basically next week will be the Tekken Tag Bowl final match. I'm trying to figure out where this is coming from. Where's that coming from over here? Uh-oh. Get over. Sorry about that. Everything's okay because I was like, cops coming by, they speeding too. They are gone. All right. Anyways, so yeah, that's gonna be next Saturday. Saturday after next is going to be the 2 Saturdays after that are gonna be the Cali Slide thing. So of course, if any disruption comes up, I'll let you guys know. Because again, trying to do a better job of getting on these videos on Saturdays. And then, yeah, by the 4th week of March, we will be continuing with the R.I.P Chronicles. So it's only going to be a 3-week hiatus this time. I'm really going to be aiming to try to get the videos out there. If it takes a little longer, I will let you guys know. But again, it's Marcus Frazier, Teachable Tuesdays, your future life coach, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. I love you guys. Hope you have an amazing day. Be blessed. If you know the words of prayer, keep my family in prayer. Much love.